The police union challenge of the driving equality law denied by a judge. A teen killed on his way to school, and Commissioner Outlaw and other progressives end up with a little bit of egg on their face, Dom. That's all this week in KRASNERLAND. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Dan Borowski, the producer of the Dom Giordano program on 1210 WPHD. And hello, YouTube, for the first time. We usually on Facebook and Twitter, but we're now on YouTube. So hello, YouTubers. And
I kind of like the YouTube versus this. It gets my complexion a little bit better.
It's the same service we're using, Dom. We've always been using the same thing from our end. It's just going out to another platform now. But Dom, so a lot going on this week. Let's start off. So first off, let me give an introduction to our new viewers, if we have any. Every week, Dom and I, Dom's the host of the Dom Giordano program. I'm his producer. We talk a lot about the crime, but we focus heavily in KRASNERLAND, or primarily, strictly, on the Philadelphia crime situation under the reign of Larry Krasner. And we've seen a huge spike in crime here in Philadelphia.
And might I add, one of the reasons for it, we have constant things going on, but it's a man whose name cannot be said. I forget what play or movie that's from. You don't even say the name. It's sacred. Like these stupid Temple students. All right, the Presidente is out. Don't think he was great. But really saying these are just due to either COVID or societal problems happening in Temple. Tell me, Temple students, how are they going to be solved? Maybe if you nitwits would not go outside the bubble, you might have a shot.
Minnie writes, and YouTube's going to censor us all for being conservative. We'll see how that goes.
Well, Minnie, nice contribution this week. Let's get all the family business out there. Do you have it, Dan? Dan the Red?
Oh, I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, give me one sec.
Yeah, let me give you the genesis of this. Dan and I were debating over so-called gouging in the water crisis, which seems like
so-called gouging. People were gouging. Come on.
Yeah, 40 crises ago. And it was either John and Wildwood or one of those guys that really got into it, so much so that somebody dubbed Dan the Red.
Yeah, there's Minnie's contribution.
Yes, and Minnie, nice work, Minnie. Don't want to get on Minnie's bad side. Man, look at the detail on this. Look at this whole thing. That's Dan coming up the Baxter outlet, we learned, telling people you better not be gouging, buying. That's him going through Costco aisle by aisle with the sword of gouging. Yes.
Sharon says, oh, that was a mess. That was a complete mess. Both our argument and the whole situation in general. Yes.
No, it was one of the greatest times we had debating, not even arguing, that I remember in recent months. In fact, I think the whole week has been like that.
Hey, Phil, how you doing? Welcome to seeing us on YouTube. I like that we now have a little
YouTube. Thank you, Phil. Spread the word, yes.
So, Dom, before we move on to some of the bigger topics, well, this is a big topic in itself, that Jason Wingard that you mentioned. You have the kids out there, they refuse to speak out. You said the names, they won't say Krasner. Do you expect a Temple Presidente to be able to come in here and without speaking out against Krasner and Kenny be able to get anything done? Or is he just signing up, or he or she just signing up for failure?
Yeah, there's another outsider probably coming in unless they take somebody inside there. What the hell is their plan? Look, it's hard to recruit cops to Temple. It's hard to recruit Philadelphia cops. One of the reasons is the mobs in Philadelphia, and those mobs owe allegiance to Larry Krasner. That's why that cop was out there by himself. They shouldn't have done that. They should have done fewer patrols then. Then two, Dan, you have COVID. How many more things? How many billion times have progressives blamed COVID? These kids want to come to Temple. I got to look up the percentage. It became largely 8 or 10 years ago, suburban all of a sudden. They want the urban experience and all this type of craziness. You can go there, but you can't live there. That's the bottom line. Why is this so hard to understand? In the best of times, I didn't really think you could live at Temple, particularly a block or two outside what we call, I'd say, the bubble. I don't have the map in front. I see today with the Inquirer, one kid saying, I wouldn't go past 15th Street. Well, the main thing is there on Broad, he wouldn't go to 15th. And he's probably right.
You know, the funniest part about all this, I believe Jason Wingard was set to move into, remember he, said he was going to live on campus. I think April 1st was that date. So,
well,
only a week before that,
and they blame him for some of these Temple students today telling the Inquirer it was a pain in the ass and all this stuff because of all these graduate students picketing and in the way all the time. Why are they blaming Wingard? Well, just give them the money. Hey, kid, then your tuition's going to go up.
Yeah.
What is it they're teaching at Temple? We know what they're teaching at Temple.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. That leads us right into, I mean, you got to call out what's causing the issues. And Krasner's one of them. Another one is a guy sitting in city council by the name of Isaiah Thomas, who introduced a bill. Dom, tell us about Isaiah Thomas's driving bill and what happened today.
Yeah, we've all seen the film, or I don't know if you have, Dan, The Green Book, which I really like. It's a story of kind of a bouncer in a club in New York, big time supper club, and they're going to be refurbishing. So he gets a job driving through the deep South with this piano player who's African American, like big time impresario. And the guy, it's called The Green Book because there's a book telling you where you can stay, because in the South at that time you couldn't. So this Isaiah Thomas believes he's doing the Green Book. He's actually talked about this, of routes to take that you'll be on safe ground from the cops in Philadelphia. And that's where he came up with this brilliant idea. Let's not enforce the law on all these unsafe vehicles, et cetera, so-called secondary minor things. Oh, I don't know, like a license plate now, et cetera. Put this into play, and you're going to see this week, and you're going to hear it hopefully on our show first. The FOP will not endorse anybody based upon what we've had on air that was in city council voting for this. They're not going to vote for the controller who attacked them. That leaves two Democrats in the Democrat primary, Eamon Brown, and he hasn't gotten traction. We love him, but I don't think he has. I think they're going to endorse Jeff Brown as the one person outside that. Isaiah Thomas thinks he got a victory today because of the insular, incestual nature of Philadelphia, where this judge just says, no, enforcing the vehicle code is a matter of local control. You can make up whatever you want. It's not. How do they do this in Philadelphia? The biggest reason is they are who they are. They are progressives, and they're progressives, Dan, that are like thuggish progressives. These are not the wine and cheese progressives maybe of San Francisco. These are like, they pride themselves. We got swag, John, and all that crap that they say. Kenny's an example. They want to get in your face. If you punch it, well, then you're the one doing it. So what happened is the judge said, we don't care about the state control of this. Now, what's going to happen is the FOP is going to win at the upper level, the Commonwealth Court, that is not beholden to Philadelphia. But in the meantime, I'm calling out, and I have sources that are helping me with this, the Bicycle Coalition, AAA, and the insurance companies, because all three have a stake in not having these Wild West drivers out there who shouldn't be on the road. They can file an amicus brief. AAA has been, the Bicycle Coalition, they're frauds. They really are. They won't do anything. The insurance companies, we may have people, and they can jump in, Dan, whose insurance has gone up. I haven't gotten mine recently, but I'm told, I don't know about yours, in Philadelphia, they're adding a surcharge because of this law. Why should we have to pay that? So the bottom line is they're going to win in Commonwealth Court, but it'll take another 8 months probably to win. The damage during that period of time, Pat Malloy, our friend, I think he should be on tomorrow, maybe, is going to be he's the new head of the police chiefs. I think they're going to decertify Philadelphia. They did it once, then they took it back. Philadelphia deserves to be decertified. That means they're no longer a police force. Anything they do that comes out with insurance, they're going to lose. And that means Philadelphia may pay $100 million, $200 million, $300 million more dollars. How are they going to absorb that?
And just to drill down on what environment's been created here, Dom, if you're driving 120 miles per hour on Roosevelt Boulevard with their red light cameras, you're essentially get away scot-free. But if you go 7 miles per hour over the speed limit and you're a law-abiding citizen, then you're getting a ticket.
Right. And the guy who puts out the report, Dan, this Richie Laser guy, he's a hooked up guy. He's the guy for the PPA now, the parking authority that heads up this program. He just puts out the report with no solution to this, but telling us, to your point, how wonderful it is they've been able to ticket and get money from law-abiding citizens who went a little too fast, or we've all had this experience. You don't know if you can make the light or not. You're jockeying with a red light. You don't want to be rear-ended or it's bad weather. Richie loves it. We can nail them. He just says 31,000 people, though. We couldn't read the plate, the tags, etc. We couldn't give them a ticket. Does anybody in the media get this guy, because he won't talk with me, and say to him, well, what are you going to do about it? Who do you blame for this?
Yeah.
Nope. He just puts out the report. And to your point, 204 people they clocked through the speed camera / red light cameras going 100 miles an hour plus on the Roosevelt Boulevard.
It's nuts. It's nuts. So, Dom, over the weekend, we had a situation, a water crisis that really took over the news cycle. But underlying that was a situation where a video was released on social media. And it allegedly showed a police officer using a racial slur. I'm going to show the video here. It's edited. This is the original video that was posted. But before I go there, if you know the story, what happened, a bunch of politicians, leftist politicians, came out condemning it. And then after reviewing the body footage, a couple days later, they realized that it was complete fake news, and they ended up with a lot of egg on their face.
Yes, but to that point, they didn't apologize. In fact, Dan, they're saying, what about the rest of this car stop? They don't like that either, even though we took a guy off the street with a record, guns, and drugs. They're not focused on that. It's the cop. And the biggest problem is Danielle Outlaw not standing by our cop in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I'm going to first throw a shot at another YouTube channel here, Dom. It's Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, part of the Young Turks network. I'm sure you've heard of the Young Turks before.
Oh, I've heard of the Young Turks. I was
far left-leaning.
The Cenk Unger guy I think I was on with once.
Oh, were you?
Yes.
So let me just zoom in here. This was posted 1 day ago. 1 day ago, Dom. And it's still titled, Cop Appears to Call Man He's Detaining a Racist Slur. 1 day ago. So they're still going with this narrative, these far leftists. But this is where I'm going to play a video from, because they were kind enough to edit out the curse words in the first one. The second one, I do want to warn you, is going to be a lot of curse words. It's uncensored. But Dom, here is the original one.
Seemingly is calling a man the N-word while trying or looking like he's going to shoot him. Here's a video.
All right.
Dan, just one note.
Hold on. Don, one sec.
All right.
All right, so I just want to go back real quick. Here is the alleged, so when he says there's a gun on your waist, I can see a gun on your waist, and they bleep it. That's the alleged moment where he said the racial term. Oh, wait, I went too far. Here we go. So open the effing door, blank there. And that's when the other guy starts freaking out, saying that he thought he heard him say the N-word. So that's where that goes. All right, sorry, Dom, what were you going to say there?
Yeah, is in my imagination, are they possibly tinted windows there?
We can find that out in this next video here. Before I go there, I just want to play a little bit of what this guy has to say afterwards.
Right.
Let me explain what you just saw. According to the recording, when we bleeped out the word, he was saying the N-word, okay? He was saying the N-word while trying to apprehend somebody, and he has weapons.
So that was essentially what a lot of the tweets were about and all. Dom, I mean, they really rushed judgment here, because here's the body cam footage. Again, I'm going to put up a banner here. Can I get it up quick enough? Explicit language. And let's watch the initial body cam. And you can hear where they bleep it originally. This is unbleeped, just so you can hear if there's an N-word at any time. Take a listen.
Open the fucking door. Open the fucking door. There's a gun on you. It's right there in your fucking waist. It's in your fucking hand. Open the fucking door.
So, again, going back, Dom. So he says it's there in your hand, and I think that might be the moment where he heard the ER sound that would, if you're overhearing it, maybe then you jump in and say, did you use a racial term? And then the elected officials took that and ran with it as gospel, and we're seeing here that that's untrue.
Well, imagine life and death. I can't see into that. I think they're 10. I always think they're 10. It's
Oh, let me
one
put it
of the
back
two.
up. Sorry, Dom.
Yeah.
You can keep talking. I'll just mute it. It's hard to tell with the body cam footage here.
Okay. All right.
This is him knocking in the window. And I want to be clear. This also, called into question was the way that he went at the guy's window when he wouldn't open the door, saying it's a little too violent. I mean, what else are you going to do in this situation?
What are you supposed to do here? Shoot him then?
Yeah.
On top of that, Dan, it's one thing to be filming. You want to film it all and I know that spot in Germantown. You want to film, but if you're giving commentary and provoking the cops under this type of situation, you're not helping the situation.
No, you're not.
Thank God they had 2 cops there, 3 cops there. They all had guns on them.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's a perfect example of, let's not get all the facts. If we have a way to talk trash about the cops, let's talk trash about them. And then these politicians wonder why police are dragging their feet, or, I would not want to be a police officer when I have this kind of stuff. Daniel Outlaw, my boss in charge, making tweets and then not giving a real apology after all said and done.
Yeah, what would Art Hayward, that's the guy who wants to make January 6th the day the kids are taught the insurrection in schools all across Pennsylvania. He's the senator from there. How are they supposed to get him out of the car? They want him to shoot him, stand there forever, tell him, come out of the car, open the door. They see a gun in his waistband. He apparently is a criminal, drugs, etc. How long? What's the procedure they want done here? What TV show did Art Hayward see that would tell him what to do?
Yeah, and with this lack of police, I mean, it all goes back to when you have a horrible relationship with police officers, it creates an incredibly unsafe environment in the city,
right,
which creates instances like, tell us about this kid walking to school, Dom, the Mastering Academy.
Yeah, we got this kid walking to school who, by all accounts, does 2 things or 3 things, does great in school, plays football for Simon Gratz, and loves his mom and dad, and goes home and wants to be with them. And apparently the motive is robbery the other day near Simon Gratz, which for viewers has become a much better school. I know Scott, the guy that runs these mastery schools, I've been there. It's amazing what he's done. Now, I don't know day to day the academics. I'm just saying how he cleaned up the environment. And this kid's just walking to school. They try to rob him. I don't even know that he resists, and they shoot him and kill him there. And everybody in the world goes through all kinds of dances of all kinds of, why does this happen and all. I'm not saying Krasner is just the sole reason, but the atmosphere that's been created since he's taken over, along with Kenny and Outlaw, is this is probably the worst trio, the deadliest trio of any 3 people running a big city in America, at least that I know of.
Yeah. Revisiting that last story, just want to give a hat tip to Broad and Liberty for obtaining that great body cam footage from a police officer and clarifying that entire story. But Dom, here's the father of that victim speaking out. I spoke with 6ABC, and I mean, it's heart-wrenching to see what this family has to go through. Take a listen.
Christie, police are looking for 3 suspects, but at this point, we don't know if they're juveniles or adults. We do know they singled out their victim, 15-year-old Devin Wheaton, leaving his family devastated.
His goal was to be a football player.
This is the football that Devin Wheaton would be holding right after school. But today, Devin didn't make it to school.
And I got a phone call from somebody I didn't know. I'm like, hello, who is it? And she was like, your son been shot. Your son been shot.
Gary Wheaton didn't believe the news that he'd lost a son who brought so much life.
He was an honor roll student. He was great. He'd get along with everybody.
The 10th grader was killed just 2 blocks from his school, Simon Gratz High School Mastery Charter in Tioga Nicetown. Police say he was walking at about 7:40 a.m. when he got into an altercation with 3 males who approached him, all dressed in black, one in a ski mask.
At some point, one of them produced a handgun and shot him at least 1 time in the chest.
When an officer quickly arrived,
there was what we later determined to be a 15-year-old male suffering from a gunshot wound to the chest.
Officers overwhelmed and school leaders devastated.
Our students are worried about walking to school.
There's Scott.
That's Scott Gordon, yeah.
Gun violence is so out of hand in this city.
Classes were dismissed at 11 a.m., but some anxious parents picked their children up even earlier.
Since my son been here, and he's in 11th grade, every year somebody's getting shot.
In this case, with no explanation.
He was a mama's boy. Like, that's why it's kind of hard to wrap my head around why something like this would happen to the youngest.
People that honestly does not have a goal for life people take someone else that has a goal for life.
Devastated that the boy who loved sports and dreamed of owning a gym is now gone.
It was no reason to kill my son like that.
There's now a $30,000 reward in this case. The school will have grief counselors on hand for students and staff. At police headquarters, Taronda Thomas, Channel 6 Action News.
Well, it just reminds me, though, of like an ancient society sacrificing something up because they can't understand something that's happened. And I just want to put neon signs up. Have you thought about Krasner?
Yeah. Question from Sharon: was he randomly targeted? I mean, we're kind of getting the impression that he was, right?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah. Sad. And he writes
it doesn't seem to be these were masterminds or anything, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, you'd say that again. Keeley had more information on that, did he? Did you see? Was there any developments on whether those guys were found or?
Not yet. No, I think they've been found.
I think their pictures have been indeed released to media, though.
Yes.
Actually, Keeley's amazing.
Yeah.
Here's video footage of these are three.
Yeah, I have to criticize Steve Keeley. Maybe he's talking about crime too much here, Victor Figueroa.
Possible cast. Yeah, Jim writes, and people are dumb enough to elect Krasner again and again. Yeah, that's. I don't know if they show it here, do they? Walk in. Is that him around the victim? Them around the victim?
I couldn't quite tell here.
Yep. Wow. It's fat. I don't know how. Well, I guess Keeley got this one because of the little arrows from the police department. But.
Yeah.
Sad. Any information? There you go. There's that as well. Sorry that we didn't give you commentary through that. That was the first time I was seeing that too, because I just clicked over to Keeley's page. But scary, man. I mean, just walking down the street, you can be a victim, I guess, allegedly. Thanks, Krasner. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Jim Kenny. I hope you're at Wegner's or Wegmans, getting some more wine. And Daniel Outlaw, no one wishes you a car accident, but you are a disgrace.
Absolutely. I mean, it's ironic that the commissioner got into a car accident when, streets are becoming less and less safe. But
yeah, an Uber driver flying through a red light, right?
And Dom, an update on Mayfair Pizza. Here's some information from the family via CBS 3.
Corrado about their frightening experience.
The family business was closed for about 2.5 weeks after the shooting. The family says they always had this fear and still do, but they're not going to let it scare them.
Sorry, did I set this up well enough, you think, Dom? We were talking about this last week. You didn't reintroduce it, though.
Yeah, this pizzeria in Mayfair, which we always tout, a family, both the daughter of the owner and the wife were shot. And apparently the daughter says that she was handing over the money bag to the criminal and her finger caught on it, and that's when he shot. But the thing I'd like to put into context, that the media, again, stunningly, they send all these reporters out there. We're just two guys. They have hundreds of people covering this. They're not telling people. Alan Don told us yesterday, and he's a button-up guy. On that block, near it or right next door, is a store selling drug paraphernalia and God knows what, open 24 hours a day. L&I / the police / whatever have not done anything about it. What this does is it draws to that more and more criminal behavior. Why is the media not reporting that? I usually blame incompetency. They're incurious. They don't want to follow up because it points back to what's causing all this stuff, or they know it and they don't want to point to it because their ideology or a combination of it.
Let's. You mind if we watch the video?
Yes.
No, but I will give you some on the side. That way you can put it on when you get home.
The phones were ringing off the hook and the well wishes were pouring in.
It's so good to see you.
Mayfair Pizza is back to business after Stacy Karasavas and her mother were both shot during an attempted robbery on March 8th.
Something that I'm never going to forget. And I mean, it changed our lives.
Police say a 19-year-old walked into the family pizza shop and demanded money. KRASNERLAND says her hand got caught on the bag he was using.
So at that point, I just tried to think, and I went down, and I was trying to hide behind the counter. That was obviously, we have plants and stuff, and we struggled. Like, the bag was sitting here, and I was trying to like loosen my hand, and I must have brought him with me, and he shot me from above.
The bullet hit her in the shoulder. She says her dad and other customers wrestled the teen to the ground. Her mother was shot in the stomach.
They were struggling for the gun, and she saw it, and she went to kick it away. He saw it, grabbed it, shot her point blank.
I'm relaxing all day, so I cannot come.
So she can come and work, because that's what kind of trooper she is.
Looking back, they are grateful they
How
have
old's
each
the
other
mother?
and a community who has always had their back.
We're reliving it. We're super grateful, but it's still completely unnerving. But we're not going to let him take over our pizza shop. This is our home. This community has really touched our soul, and I can't thank them enough.
This is a miracle.
KRASNERLAND says her dad and the customers saved their lives. The
65
suspect was
of them.
taken into custody. Carrie Corrado, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Well, I'm more interested. That's all good. You know, I'm glad the media put that story out, Dan. But feel good in the aftermath and all that. I'm interested in stopping the next one. So I want to know, and Alan Dom on the show yesterday was right on it. He went to this store right there on the block and told them they're in violation. And if he's elected mayor, he's going to shut them down. My God, could progressives just be A, this heartless, B, this incompetent? The answer is yes. Many times they're silly. Other times they're dead. Look at the woman that was shot there. This guy deserves to be in jail for life.
Yeah. And you have this week, for good reason, there's been a lot of conversation about gun control, and and Democrats love to talk about how we need to take guns, but then they allow crap like this to fester and allow the only opportunity for individuals to defend themselves being with firearms. And I have a story here, Dom, with that.
Okay, yeah, the point I wanted to make, the best point, though, is Krasner has actually said this. If you're a felon caught with a gun, I am not going to send you away for the 5 to 10 years, whatever it is. Well, this is the heart of the action here. If the felon knows he's going to go away for 10 years under law, just caught with a gun, he's going to keep it somewhere else. This cuts down on violence tremendously. Krasner publicly has said that, and the gun grabbers among progressives go, oh, well, if Larry says it, I'm okay with it.
So here is, I mean, they talk about all these shootings and all these bullets fired, but then they allow this crime to happen. And the only people can defend themselves is that way, causing more shots to be fired because they have to use those shots to defend themselves. And Dom, take a watch.
Sources tell me 4 people were trying to break into a car at this apartment complex overnight. They were met by 2 people legally carrying guns. Police say one of those suspects is now in the hospital, critically injured.
I didn't hear anything last night, so no shooting. I'll be asleep.
While many of the residents of Joshua House apartment homes in Northeast Philadelphia were sleeping early Monday, there was a shooting in the parking lot.
When I first moved in here, it looked quiet. So now I don't know what to do.
Bullet casings show the scene. Police say it happened around 3 a.m. on the 2600 block of Welsh Road. Sources say 4 men were breaking into a vehicle. 2 men saw it happen and opened fire. One of the suspects, a 19-year-old, turned up at Nazareth Hospital. He was airlifted to Temple in critical condition. Sources say the other 3 suspects are in custody. Neighbors say this isn't the first time there have been attempted break-ins in this apartment complex.
They stole my Cadillac converter. That's about 3 weeks ago. Right, it was sitting right here. The car right back of you. And I park around now in the other section.
Sources say neither of the permit holders were hurt after the shooting. In Northeast Philadelphia,
But-
Becca Hendrickson, Channel
but-
6, Action News.
Are they going to be charged is the question, because you're in Larry
Well,
Krasner's
right, and here's a guy in your circumstance, catalytic converter. The question I'd always want to ask, hey, if you don't mind, what do you think of Larry Krasner?
Yeah.
And
Follow up.
again, a lot of these stories, the last 2, where? Northeast Philadelphia, which used to be the low crime area of the city, or one of the lower crime areas.
Yeah. We focus a lot on Northeast Philadelphia, but just for our listeners that aren't familiar with Philadelphia, this is indeed a problem citywide. It's so shocking to see it happen to Northeast individually, because you always say Mayfair used to be the Mayberry of
Yeah, it
Philadelphia.
used to be. That was and the condo king, Alan Dom, agreed with me. Real estate wide, the little white picket fence, the small lawn, and you're moving up in Northeast Philadelphia from Lower or another neighborhood. Why would you be moving up now in Mayfair? We just caught someone with the massive amount of fentanyl that killed one guy in the Bay. They were apparently mixing drugs or doing something with it. You didn't hear that before. It's out of control, and Northeast Philadelphia is suffering probably the most versus previous times. The other thing is West Philadelphia was always bad. Now it's beyond. I think there's a square block area, Dan, between 50th and 60th and like Market and Chester, that is just every night you hear of a shooting.
Yeah, it's sad. It's horrible. Oh, sorry, I'm just bringing this up. Jim writes in, Northeast Times reporting that because of the Mayfair pizza shooting, there are now bicycle cops patrolling afternoons and evenings. So that's good, at least, right?
Oh yeah, it is. But here's the question: to the point, why do you let an occasion of sin, Catholics would call it, this store that's open on that block 24 hours a day, where they're obviously doing something illegal according to Alan Dom? Now, if we ever do go up there for pizza, which I would encourage people, we're trying to set this up with the owners of the store to support the store. My first thing is to take a slice and walk in and talk to these guys and try to get them on tape, and then propel as much as I can, every media outlet, etc., to ask. It's a simple thing. How much would it take to go after them?
Yeah. I don't know if I go that far, Rob. He says Mayfair is now Kensington.
No. Well, Tacony is on the way to becoming Kensington. Mayfair is Tacony 10 to 15 years ago. And soon it will, the whole nothing's Kensington. That's like preposterous. You know what I mean?
Curious to think your thoughts on the redevelopment of the Northeast. Do you think there is any chance that 10 years from now it will indeed be a safe area, or do you think we're just going to continue spiraling towards this?
I think
negative downside?
you still at Martina White's district, amazingly, she's held the line. I would say it depends on the mayor. If Helen Gim is mayor, anywhere will be a free fire zone. If Alan Dom or Jeff Brown or Sherelle Parker, you're going to see improvement. Big time. Or in some cases, potentially big time. But even those three, they won't publicly. I don't get a sense out of all of them. I get a sense that Reinhardt would go after Krasner behind the scenes more than they would. So I think there are more.
Do you think there are actually people thinking about buying, or investors waiting to hear who the next mayor is before they choose whether or not to invest in the?
I think so. Yeah, without a doubt. Or
and
people
do you think
deciding whether to move or not?
Do you think if someone like Dom were to get elected, property values would skyrocket because there'd be more of a demand?
I don't know, skyrocket, but I think within a year, let's give it a year. Yeah, I think you would see a significant. I don't see how it can drop, Dan, any lower. And again, the biggest thing I'm agitating for, and I hope to see the station involved with this, is Alan Dom said it. Yeah, I was right. There's been no debate. And they give this phony excuse. I hate to keep on coming back to these things, but you know me. You think I'm going to let that judge sit there and bloviate and chew up my time with real issues? Or the minister who's run 7 times and told kids there's no Santa Claus? You think they're getting a second of time? No, what you do is you put them into 2 tiers, the top 4 and then tier 2. They get their time under some kind of law, but they don't get to mess it up. And we have a debate. There's not been one debate yet. Alan Dom told me either on air or off air how boring this is to people. Every night's another forum with another group, and there's no debate.
Yeah.
That's the only way for someone to say to Helen Gim, no, you are, and let her respond. And let's go back and what in the world? This is the most important race I've ever seen for mayor. And yet we haven't had one debate yet.
Rob says people like him from the far northeast are moving out. He's in Abington now. People from Mayfair are now moving into the far northeast, and the people from Kensington are moving to County and Mayfair, as he said.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So top 4 candidates, just an update. If you were to do that debate, who would it be? Let's say Helen Gim's not going to agree to it, so we'll take Helen Gim out of it.
The top 4, I think Jeff Brown is leading. Alan Dom might be second, or Gim. So it's Jeff Brown, Alan Dom, Helen Gim, and Sherelle Parker.
But taking Helen Gim out of it, who would be your fourth for the debate?
It would be Reinhardt.
Okay.
Yeah, Reinhardt is big time. I mean, and she's not Helen Gim, and Helen Gim will not agree to it. And then the others, if we have a fight on the hand, we're going to have a fight on the hand, but they're not. I'm not sitting there and letting these clowns, and that's what they are. My God, they're at 0.0.
I think I have pretty high confidence that I can make that happen. A debate between Dom, Jeff Brown, Reinhardt, and Sherelle Parker. Definitely those four. Yeah, maybe we get that rolling. We've had interest from candidates already in it. You know, when we've mentioned it, it hasn't been like, no way. It's been, yeah, let's do it. When do you want to do it?
And people know what I'm going to do during the debate. You're not getting off the point. I'm going to engage you, or somebody's going to engage you and say, prove this, or here's your action. And now you're saying this. It's not pieces of paper. It's not holding up, here's my 18-point plan. It's actually, what have you done? And it's getting these people into moments where the truth comes out. That's the skill of what I do, one way or the other. Sometimes it's not pretty, too bad.
Yeah, I can say I think this is, notable. We should mention it. Is I was talking to Dom's people, and they said, count them in regardless. So, I mean, they don't even have a time yet. They want to do it. I know Jeff Brown mentioned that he wants to do it, right, to you?
Yeah, exactly. And we'll come up with the rules that are needed with the debate versus a forum or showcase. We'll come up with the rules. Dan, but one rule, I mean, I try not to get in the weeds here. I'm not going to let people do a 1-minute opening statement and maybe a close, because everything that's happened. There's no reason to blow the 8 and chew up more time with saying general things in a minute. We're going to get right into it. Now, at the end, after all that's happened, and you want to clarify, summarize, I'd give a 1.5 minutes for that. Yeah, I think that's reasonable after everything was done. But what I try to do, my tactic, I'm going to make Brown and Alan Dom distinguish each other. Then I'm going to try to hear something in there and throw Sherelle Parker into it and have the three of them go back and forth. Then I'm going to try to get Reinhardt in there, not question. They say, yes, I have this piece of paper. No, this is all on the fly. You won't know. And the truth usually comes out.
Yeah. And well, hopefully we can make that happen, Dom. But that's all we have. I mean, there was also the horrible shooting of a man and woman on a SEPTA platform.
Yes.
That we were going to delve into. But we are fresh out of time, Dom. But I want to mention tomorrow we got a great show. Wally's Immelong coming on at 1 p.m. We'll have Neil Zorin as well, talking some movies. So always tune in with us at noon on 1210 WPHT. And until next time, we'll be here again Thursday at 4 p.m. next week for KRASNERLAND on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But we'll pray that it's a much safer week and much harder to prepare for a week next week. And there's not much news out of KRASNERLANd and things that turn around, but it hasn't yet.
Statement I want to make. This I go to the death and everything. Our buddy Giuseppe was on for full-blood Italian, the way he was pronouncing mozzarella. And he said, but then in the end, he went a bridge too far. With our big trip, don't forget conservative tours in Italy. You're going to love these tour guides. This guy was great. And Dan, he told us, you say sauce in Italy. No, we don't. It's gravy. It always be gravy. And I don't care even what Giuseppe says. And when I get there, we're going to tape that, and we're going to have a back and forth over dinner and some great wine. And I'm going to come out the winner that it is gravy.
So we're on a thread with Giuseppe in an email thread. And do you happen to see, I know you're not on there, what our sales guy said?
No.
Giuseppe, he goes, Giuseppe, here in the States, the Northeast quarter anyway, gravy is used as a term when meat is added. Otherwise, we always refer to it as sauce. Sending a correction over to the Italian on how Italians speak. But is that true? Meat inside sauce is then gravy?
Who said that? Dorenzo?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think in South Philly, though, Dan, they are rigid. Like they like calling it gravy no matter what. I mean, I judged gravy contests.
Gravy Wars, yeah.
Sauce Fest. We had 5,000 people come through based upon me tasting gravies at various places around the area. Sauce.
Gravies
you taste
are
50 of them, and you have those women standing there. Who wants to be the winner? You talk about pressure. Oh man.
Gravies are for turkey and for meatloaf, not for pasta. That's
Well,
a sauce for pasta.
when you're outside the clan here, I guess you would say that. Yes. I'll go to you for what we call pierogies. And what was that festival with the swatting with
Dingus Day.
Yes.
Yeah. We swat everyone with pussy willows and
pussy willows.
Water over ourselves naked. Yeah. Giuseppe talking about cheese and olives made me hungry. Me too. I'm starving right now, so I'm probably gonna get some food myself. We should just chill here and do the rest. Yeah.
Here's my tip. I may have to say this on the air tomorrow. For me, I don't know about authentic. We went to Sal and Joe's over in South Jersey after we did our taxes, and the picture you have to have on the wall might be a good side question someday. Is you probably don't know this. It's a 1962 or 4 circa picture. This beautiful American woman walking down a street in Italy, and all these guys, some of them 80, some of them your age, going like this, and just telling her, expressing her beauty. Do you know that some restaurants had to take that down in town under pressure?
Oh, really?
Instead, they were not saying obscene things to the woman. They were just recognizing her. That's what they do in Italy. What's wrong with that? I had bro stance in that. So giant portrait of that still up there when you walk into it. Couldn't commend them more.
Website for that tour if they want to go with you.
Oh, yeah, conservativetours.com, conservativetours.com. And when you hear Giuseppe and these guys on with me, this will be a fabulous trip. And by the way, you enjoy Roe. You'll see all the things I told you are true.
It's that's like the grand prize right there, is getting to meet the woman behind the name.
Yes, as we get on board, I'm going to make sure she doesn't lie internationally about her height. I want a measurement there. I want to see if it really is 5 feet.
I think it's 5'11" and 3/4, like you're 6'1" and 3/4. All right, everyone. We'll see you next time. Dom, I'll talk to you here in a couple seconds. But we'll see everyone tomorrow. Tomorrow at noon.
Thanks for listening. Noon to 3.